Most men use compliments like beggars use coins. They throw them desperately, hoping to buy approval. You look amazing. You're so smart. I love your work. Empty, generic, transactional. And the recipient? They feel it. They sense the need behind the praise. They devalue both the compliment and the man who delivered it. This is the tamed dog, licking boots for scraps of affection. But there is another way, a darker way. The wolf understands that flattery is not for feeding your ego. It is for lowering defenses. It is a strategic weapon, not a social nicety. When used correctly, a compliment can disarm an enemy, open a closed door, or plant a flag in someone's mind, all while they thank you for it. Machiavelli wrote that a prince must appear merciful, faithful, humane, religious, and upright, and actually be so. But he also understood that appearing to admire someone's strength while subtly noting their vulnerability is the oldest game of power. Today, we decode the 5 laws of tactical praise. This is not about being nice. This is about using words as weapons wrapped in velvet. Type charm in the comments if you are ready to master the dark art. Let's dive in. Law 1. Plausible deniability. The subtle strike. The first law is the foundation of all tactical praise. If your compliment is too obvious, too grand, too desperate, you are not flattering. You are confessing. You are announcing your position as beneath them, seeking favor. The target's guard goes up immediately. The Machiavellian principle is simple. The best compliment is one that could also be interpreted as simple observation. It must have an exit strategy. If they challenge you, are you just sucking up? You must be able to shrug and say, I was just stating a fact. Avoid superlatives. You're the best ever is suspect. That was a well-handled situation is observation. The first begs, the second notes. One is a dog begging, the other is an equal acknowledging competence. Law 2. The third-party compliment. The echo chamber. This is the most powerful form of praise because it bypasses all defense mechanisms. When you tell someone directly, I admire you, they must evaluate your motives. Are you sincere? Are you manipulating? The guard is up. But when you praise them to someone else, knowing it will get back to them, the effect is devastating. Why? Because it appears to have no agenda. You weren't performing for them. You were just speaking truth when they weren't in the room. This is social proof applied to ego. Robert Greene's Law 5. So much depends on reputation, guard it with your life. The inverse is also true. Build their reputation behind their back, and they will guard you with their loyalty. In a group setting, when the target is not present, speak well of them, specifically, credibly, without excess. Then let nature take its course. The echo will return to them, amplified and trusted in ways direct praise never could be. Law 3. Validate the insecurity. The vulnerability strike. The third law targets the softest spot. Every powerful person has a hidden doubt. The tough CEO wonders if he is kind enough. The beautiful woman wonders if she is intelligent. The intellectual wonders if he is physically capable. These are the gaps in their armor. The tame dog compliments what is already obvious. You're so successful to the wealthy man. He has heard it 1,000 times. It is noise. The wolf identifies the insecurity and praises the opposite. To the stern leader, you note their patience. To the aloof beauty, you mention their warmth. To the aggressive negotiator, you acknowledge their fairness. I once had a boss who was infamous for his ruthlessness. Everyone feared him. Everyone praised his toughness. He was bored by it. One day, after he handled a difficult termination with unexpected dignity, I said quietly, That was handled with more class than most would have managed. He stopped, looked at me. Something shifted. From that day, I was no longer just an employee. I was someone who saw him. I didn't praise his strength. I validated the humanity he feared he lacked. Law 4. The Specificity Rule. The sniper, not the shotgun. This separates the master from the amateur. You're great is a shotgun blast. Loud, scattered, easy to ignore. The way you structured that argument, leading with the counterpoint before the evidence, was brilliant. That is a sniper round. It hits precisely because it proves you were paying attention. The Machiavellian insight. Generic praise signals that you are performing a social script. Specific praise signals that you have studied them. And being studied is both flattering and slightly unsettling. It puts you in a position of subtle power. Your execution. Before you compliment, ask yourself, could anyone else say this to them? If yes, say nothing. Wait until you have observed something unique, something only someone paying close attention would notice. Then deliver it. The specificity is the weapon. Law 5. The Disarm. Turning enemies into allies. The final law is the ultimate application. When someone is hostile to you, when they have positioned themselves as an adversary, your instinct is to fight or flee. Both are weak. The wolf disarms with precision. You find something, anything, genuinely admirable in your enemy, and you acknowledge it. Not sarcastically, not as a setup, genuinely. I know we've had our differences, but I have to respect how you handled that presentation. I had a co-worker who actively undermined me for months. Everything I proposed, he opposed. I hated him. One day, in a meeting, he made a point that was genuinely sharp. Afterward, I caught him in the hallway and said, "That insight about the client's real motivation? I missed that. Good catch." He blinked, stuttered, said thanks. The next week, he voted in favor of my project. Not because I was right, but because I had disarmed him. I had stepped outside the expected script of mutual hostility. In that moment, I became unpredictable, and therefore impossible to fight. Mastering these 5 laws demands a sacrifice. It requires you to kill the deepest obstacle, the ego that refuses to praise others. You think praising someone diminishes you. You think acknowledging their strength exposes your weakness. This is the logic of scarcity, of the tamed dog who hoards scraps. The wolf knows that praise is not a limited resource. It is a tool. It costs you nothing to use and can buy you everything. When you can sincerely admire an enemy's strength, you are no longer controlled by petty resentment. You are operating from a position of such abundance that you can afford to build others up, even as you maneuver around them. Let the ego die that whispers, "Don't give them credit." What grows in its place is strategic generosity. You praise not because you are weak, but because you are secure enough to use truth as a weapon. This is the rested, sharpened energy we built in our previous video, now deployed with surgical precision. You have sustained your power. Now you wield it, with honey instead of force. Your mission this week is uncomfortable for the ego. You will play the disarm game. Identify one person you actively dislike or compete with. Find one genuine specific thing they do well, and in the next 7 days, acknowledge it to them, directly, sincerely, no agenda. Watch what happens to the dynamic. Watch what happens inside you. Feel the resistance? That is your ego panicking. Let it panic. You speak. If this strategic view of praise resonates with you, if you are ready to stop begging with compliments and start deploying them as weapons, then you know what to do. Subscribe. Because you are choosing to master the velvet glove over the iron fist. The next video closes our first roadmap, with the ultimate lesson in power, the art of misdirection, how to hide your true intentions. We have built the foundation. Now we learn to move like a ghost. Don't miss it. Master the game. Guard your mind.